we're now ready to add breakdowns. So in this lesson, we'll work on the down positions of the run. The down positions will happen in between our extremes. So that's going to be frames 4 and 11. Let's go ahead and get right to work. We'll start with the center of gravity. We'll go to frame 4. And here, we're going to want to translate the center of gravity down. Not too much. Of course, for a cartoony character, for more of a bop in the hips, you can go ahead and bring them down quite a bit. But here, we just want the motion to be noticeable. We don't want him to bounce around too much. We should also go ahead and rotate the character forward. So I'll go ahead and do that. The x-axis just slightly. All right, great. So from here, we can go ahead and take this keyframe. Let's hold down Shift and drag this over to frame 11. Now you'll see the character does not raise back up when we get to the next extreme on frame 8. This is very simple to tweak. All we need to do is take the keyframe from 1, let's hold down Shift, and drag that to frame 8. And there we have it. So now we're having a little bounce to the character center of gravity. Perfect. Let's go ahead and start to work on the legs. The left foot needs to plant. All right, so with that selected, let's go ahead and Alt-right click and choose Transform to 0. That'll keep it on the floor. We'll now grab the ball control. Again, Alt-right click and choose Transform to 0. And now we need to make sure that the heel hits first, and then the foot will plant fully 1 frame after. So on frame 4, let's go ahead and bring the leg up a bit more forward in the y-axis. All right, great. From there, we'll go to the heel control. We'll go ahead and rotate the heel up, not too high. For more stylized characters, for more of a flap, you can go ahead and bring this up a bit more. But for realism, we don't want this brought up too high. All right, great. And I think we can go ahead and push this control forward a bit more. We don't want to extend this leg. We just want there to be a slight bend. If we extend this leg, then the pose would be unnatural and the run would seem off. Okay, great. So that's looking good. Let's go ahead and take care of the right foot. So let's grab the ball control, and on frame 4, we'll go ahead and Alt-right click and choose Transform to 0. And now we can take this leg, we can bring it back, and then rotate the foot back as well for some follow through. So as it rotates up, here's what we end up with. So we have a really nice looking down position. Great stuff. I think we are ready to copy and paste our values. So since we have the right leg selected, let's go ahead and start here. We'll right click and grab our dope sheet, and let's go ahead and find our 0 position as well as 0 Euler tracks. All right, with them selected, we'll now go ahead and grab frame 4 and copy. Now let's go ahead and transfer this over to the left leg. So we'll go ahead and select that control, and on frame 11, we'll highlight our time and paste. Let's take a look. All right, that pose looks pretty good. I'll minimize the dope sheet. We just need to do a little bit of cleanup work here. For one, we need to take the ball of the foot. We'll Alt-right click and choose Transform to 0 to flatten that out. We need to do the same thing for the heel control. So with that selected, again, we'll Alt-right click and choose Transform to 0. All right, perfect. Now, going back to frame 4, we now need to transfer the pose on the left leg over to the right. So again, with the left leg's control object selected, we'll move back to our dope sheet. We'll grab the position and the Euler tracks. And let's go ahead and select our frame and copy. Now, grabbing the right foot, we'll go to frame 11, highlight our time. Let's go ahead and paste this. Perfect. All right, so I'll go ahead and minimize. You can see that the ball of the foot will need to be dropped. So let's do that. We also need to raise the heel. So this is very simple to do. We just need to go back to frame 4, acquire the value we'll need for the roll axis. That's about 18 and some change. So let's go ahead and copy that value. Let's go to frame 11 and grab the right heel, go back to the x-axis, and paste. There we have it. So take a look. We have added our breakdowns. So this is looking nice. Now we want to make sure that for our our left heel, when that gets to frame 5, that we make sure that that foot plants. So I'll go to frame 5. With the heel selected, I'll alt right click and choose transform to 0. We'll also grab the ball control here, and on frame 5 again we'll go ahead and make sure that the foot is planted because of the weight that's now fully on this foot. If we waited, let's say, one more frame, we might lose a sense of weight if we have the foot plant just 2 frames instead of 1 here. So we just want to make sure that we are getting a good feeling of weight throughout this entire run. Weight is challenging in CG animation, but if we really work hard to master our timing, we'll get it down. Alright, so let's do the same thing for the right foot. It needs some attention too, so we'll grab our heel control, and on frame 12, we'll alt right click and choose transform to 0. We'll grab our ball control and do the same thing, transform to 0, to make sure it plants just 1 frame after the heel is raised. Let's take a look at the progress of our run. We'll hit play. So you can see already it's coming together. It looks a bit choppy because we need to do a few things. We need to not only check for arcs, but we need to make sure that the entire animation is fluid from the start to the end and as it cycles back through. So speaking of that, what we're going to do in the next lesson is go in and make sure that the animation cycles, just so that, again, we can start to prepare for polishing this performance here.